Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to a Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Today, in our We Play It Forward series, brought to you by the We Play It Forward Foundation, we're spotlighting Beyond the Bid, the art and heart of benefit auctions with Pat Tully is what we're going to be talking about, from Hollywood sets to charity galas. His unique journey could not be more fitting, and here's why. According to Giving USA's 2024 report, Americans donated over $577 billion to charity in 2023 alone, with nearly 30% of that total coming from special events and benefit auctions. And yet, most nonprofits say their biggest challenge is not donor willingness, but how to engage and inspire in the moment. And that's where Pat Tully comes in. He's not just an auctioneer. He's a strategist and a storyteller. His clients include powerhouse nonprofits like St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, the American Cancer Society, and the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's also the co-founder of the Kate Shea Foundation for Leukemia Research and has served as vice president of development for the Ireland Funds. And beyond the ballroom, Pat has taken his talents to Hollywood, guest starring as an auctioneer in Ryan Murphy's Feud, Capote versus the Swans, appearing on National Geographic's Brain Games, and even Pawn Stars. He created his own auction game show, Paddle Battle, and has co-hosted The Morning Blend. What makes Pat stand out is that he doesn't just grab a microphone, he becomes part of the mission, embodying both the art of giving and the heart of giving. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with the heart of what you do. So many people think of auctions as just fast talk and numbers, but I've seen you in action. Your clients describe you as part of the team, almost like family. So what's the secret to making people feel connected enough to give so generously, if you will?
I would think the last thing I do is talk fast. Sometimes when they say time is money, they're like, Pat, you have 15 minutes. You got to raise this $1 million. Let's go. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So we're moving things along fast, but I'm not one of those cattle auctioneers that give me 25, give me 12 and a half. I don't do those chants or anything like that. I got into this whole thing by doing improv comedy, and that's really what every one of these situations is. A lot of times we're working with some really heartstring tugging moments and things are happening around us, but we can still have a lot of fun and bring a lot of energy to raise as much money as possible. Because this is a gala. It's supposed to be fun, besides a strong message. And that's what happens leading up to it. We're telling that strong message, and then we're having some fun to make some big money for the organization.
Yeah, that's powerful because research does show that donors who feel emotionally connected to a cause are actually 52% more likely to give repeatedly. So what you're describing isn't just fundraising, it's community building in real time. And that's what really counts. Now, you've worked with some of the biggest names in philanthropy, St. Jude's, Make-A-Wish, American Cancer Society, We Play It Forward Foundation. What lessons have you learned from those organizations about inspiring generosity on such a massive scale?
You have to tell that story leading up to the moment when we ask for the money. You said it yourself. People want to feel connected. They want to feel that emotion. So the whole gala all along, people want to have a good time. They want to eat. They want to talk to their friends. In between all of that, we have to have some strong talking points and great speakers. And if you don't have great speakers, use great video to tell your message. Because sometimes there could be a speaker who's got an unbelievable story, but they're not great in front of a room. They just don't have that thing that you need to get up there and really rally the crowd. So put them to a video, put some nice music underneath it, create that emotion if it's not coming from that person directly.
Exactly. Now, your journey is very unique. Most auctioneers don't end up on TV shows like Feud or Pawn Stars. So how has stepping into Hollywood shaped the way you bring energy, humor, and performance to benefit auctions?
It's funny because all of these opportunities, just like how my business has grown over the years, they've all been referrals, or somebody sees me in action and they're like, you know what, could you help us do that thing at our event in a couple of weeks or next year, whatever it is. I sit on a board of this. And then somebody said, we saw you at a casting agency called me and said, we saw you at this event. The Brain Games thing I auditioned for. And the other thing with Feud and a couple of these other opportunities, it was that somebody knew me or saw me, or then that casting agent put me into something I did well at, and they said, "Guess what? We've got another opportunity to be an auctioneer. So you've been typecast. Congratulations." And I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to be an actor, but I love those kind of roles when I can do that.
I love that. And the data backs it up. Stanford showed us that humor increases engagement and generosity by like 25% in giving environments. And you're all about that humor and that improv. And you found a way to merge entertainment with impact. So it's even better. Sweeten the pot. Now, you also created your own game show, Paddle Battle. That's such a creative leap. What inspired you to merge entertainment with the auction world? And do you see gamification as the future of fundraising?
It's a great question. And the idea for the show was, look, this is what we're doing every night. And so many people have said this could be a show. And it couldn't really have like a reality show of showing donors raising their hands. And you would have so many opportunities to where, oh man, I don't want my name. I just bid on that thing. I'm happy to support the Make-A-Wish Foundation, but I don't want my image and likeness and my $100,000 bid to be out there in the public. I mean, right now, it's such a tough environment. People would find a way to have a problem with that. So I was thinking, well, what if we took it out of the ballroom and away from the golf course and all the other ways people raise money? And if we had our own kind of, game show where it's the item goes to the highest bidder, but then you could still have a charitable element to it. So you have people coming on, they're spending their own money to buy some really unique items. You bring some sponsors on to provide those items. That's how you pay for the show, right? With the sponsors. And then people pay and bid and win items, and a percentage of all that goes to their favorite charity.
That's so innovative. Now, beyond the showmanship, you're also a strategist. You know how to package donated items, set starting bids, and even forecast what will drive donations. So, can you share a behind the scenes example of a moment when smart strategy made all the difference in the outcome of an event?
So I was working with a group in New Jersey, and won't say their name, but it was the first time they were doing a live auction. And they didn't know what to sell. So I said, let's do a little brainstorming activity. And during the brainstorming, I said, the number one thing that sells anywhere, anytime, regardless of the demographics, is a food and beverage experience, something bespoke. And I asked the guy, he was in commercial real estate, if he knew of anybody, did he have any clients that were restaurateurs? Maybe we could take a little something off next month's rent by having them donate a chef experience. He was like, no, nothing like that. And when we were running out of ideas, I said, well, maybe you know somebody who's been on one of those shows like Top Chef or Chopped. And he was like, oh, my sister won Chopped. Won Chopped. Not was on Chopped. Won. And forgot about that. It's because we forget about the great connections we have. We forget about the Rolodex we have. I know that ages me to say a Rolodex, but we forget about the connections that we have in life, even if they are in our own family. And I was saying, if we could have her provide a dinner for 10 people, that is going to raise a lot of money. And it did. She came to the event, didn't think it would do well. I said, if it doesn't sell for 5,000, I'll make it my birthday dinner and we'll invite 10 friends. We'll have some fun with it. It'll go for more. It went for $15,000, and she grabbed the mic and said, you can both have one. I was like, that's my job. That's my, so it went from, and it was just this moment where they were stuck. We don't know what we're going to sell. And I said, well, this will work. And then he had this superpower. She has this superpower as the chop champion, not even realizing it. And it's something that she offers from time to time, going forward. And that was an opportunity. And then the other side of the strategy is not just how to line up the auction items, what goes first and all that. But then there's, when do we do it in the show, in the program? What time is the live fundraising? What goes first? The live auction, live appeal, but always do that live appeal. And when it comes to that live appeal, make sure that we know that we have somebody who's willing to start us off at a certain level. So we're not sitting there saying, who'll give us $50,000, and nobody gives us 50,000, nobody gives us 25, because it can suck the energy out of the room. So a ton of what we do is reading the room and knowing the audience, but then also setting ourselves up for success leading up to it to make sure we have the right bidders at the right amounts.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It's such an insider perspective, and it matches what the National Auctioneers Association reports. Events with a trained benefit auctioneer specialist like yourself often see 20 to 30% higher fundraising goals, and it shows that strategy is just as critical as charisma. Now, finally, as someone who's seen both the art and science of giving, what advice would you give to nonprofits and even individuals listening right now on how to maximize impact in their own communities?
I would say make sure you do some kind of live fundraising if you have a captive audience. If it's a golf outing, dinner, cocktail party, whatever it is, you don't even have to have auction items. But if you've got a great message, tell that message. If you've got a great mission, show us, tell us, visualize it, make sure that we all know, and then make the messaging simple. And if you don't have auction items, just ask people for straight donations. Put the dollars to the facts, put the dollars to the mission, and we'll raise a lot.
Yeah, that's inspiring, Pat. And it ties to that broader truth that when communities come together, even that modest contribution adds up, right? I mean, a lot of US households, I think it's like over, and I'm all about statistics, but like 70 or 70% of US households give to charity annually. I mean, that's a big number, proving that no gesture is too small to create change. So anyhow, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. It was much more than just an interview feature on your incredible career, but I learned a lot, and I'm almost positive we're going to have this video reshared because there's a lot of charities, organizations, and management out there that don't know what you know. So thank you for the insight.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
That was the We Play It Forward segment, brought to you by the We Play It Forward Foundation, reminding us that giving is not just about dollars raised. It's about stories told, communities united, and lives changed. To learn more on how you can get involved or support, you can head directly to WePlayItForwardFoundation.org, and you can check them out on the gram at We Play It Forward Foundation. And if you were inspired by Pat, definitely check him out on his website at pattullyinc.com or on the gram at Patrick J. Tully, and that's 2 L's. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.